to Will Wade's team. Again, they went to 30 games a year ago. They picked up their first win of the season a couple of days ago. Will Wade, you know, after the dismissal at LSU, that was at the end of the 22 season, he's been pretty candid. He talked about how McNeese rolled the dice on him. He rolled the dice on McNeese. And all he does in year one is guide them to an NCAA tournament. That was just the third ever in program history. Stevenson sets the feet, misfires from deep. Amori got his fingers on it, so there's that length and size that we talked about for Alabama. Nelson was falling out of bounds. Oates with the savvy timeout to keep possession. The Cowboys are 4 of 5 from the floor to start, and so the visiting McNeese State Club is up.
Reasons is because of the 6 possessions that Alabama has had. They have had 2 turnovers. Give credit to the defense of the Cowboys. No field goals for Alabama over the last 3 minutes.
Yeah, and they built a pretty significant defensive identity a year ago. They brought back a few starters from the most efficient defensive team in the Southland Conference a year ago. There you go. They held opponents to just 66 points per game. Felt like there were a couple of games last year in conference play where they won by 66. I mean, they rolled through, you know, much of that conference a year ago. They went 17-1, and they were led by, remember, the Conference Player of the Year, Shahade Wells, who has since graduated and moved on. And okay, they're getting it back right here after the giveaway.
Yeah, another turnover. Of course, their 3rd turnover, almost averaging a turnover per minute. Now you have a completely different group. Coach Nate Oates has went with a much smaller lineup with 3 guards in the lineup now.
Yeah, it basically makes the hockey change there. Sears is the only holdover. Now McNeese gives it right back. Reitzel is onto the floor for the first time, as is Aiden Holloway, Darion Reed, and then Aiden Sherrill. So a handful of those highly touted freshmen are out there.
Kevin, you notice McNeese State right now switching 1 through 5, right? They're just playing the area. There goes the switch. Kind of a go screen, the switch there again.
And so now it's Breed on Sears. He's got it with 6 on the timer. Breed all over him. Corner 3, this is Holloway. Misfires. Had a good box out that time by the savvy veteran, Brandon Murray. So Alabama has missed its first 4 from deep. You know, they struggled in that win against Arkansas State last Friday, shooting from distance.
Yeah, 6 of 31 in that basketball game. Still continuing to get to know one another, formulate the chemistry. You've got young players still getting to gel with one another. Have such a tough schedule going up. But I know all the ingredients is there for Alabama. Give the Cowboys credit. They came out ready to play as we expected.
I mean, that becomes the question each year. You know, how quickly do you blend? 8 newcomers for Alabama, 10 for McNeese State.
Yeah.
That's still not even the most out there in the nation.
And it's not going anywhere, Kevin. The toothpaste is out of the tube. This is how it's going to be going forward.
Reitzel looks to push. This is Reed on the break. He gets fouled. And so there's that quick push. Reitzel eyes up immediately.
Yeah, it's
free throws coming.
It's a track meet. Anytime you have a change of possession, I love how Alabama pushes the basketball ahead. You hear that from basketball camps at a little age, that the pass is quicker than the dribble. Alabama exemplifies that as well as anybody in college basketball.
Darion Reed, Fish, he's one of the 2 McDonald's All-Americans on the roster. He and Aiden Sherrill. High upside. The staff has really liked his activity, his physicality in these first couple of games. So things are pretty wild on the gridiron, by the way, in this league. Here is our Week 12 slate. Auburn gets the coverage started here on the network against UL Monroe. Missouri at a South Carolina team that's won back-to-back impressive games. Texas A&M in action later in the evening. And then on SEC Network Plus, Kentucky and this Alabama team that just smashed LSU in action.
How about the answer?
As well, yep.
Goodness gracious, on the road in Death Valley. One of the more impressive games that I've seen all year.
Scoring 42. This is Garcia. That's a difficult one with Reitzel right there. And so Javon Garcia, he's one of the veteran returners from last year's 30-win team. He's on the board with his first basket.
He actually led the Cowboys against the College of Biblical Studies with 21 points. He's a proven scorer, loves that mid-range game.
Yeah, that was the program's first win. Garcia stripped it away from Sherrill. And Garcia with the great sleight of hand. Sherrill there was kind of in slow motion as he gathered. Garcia comes to a jump stop, misfires, and Sherrill scoops it up. So here's Mark Sears, hasn't taken a shot yet. Reitzel gets one man in the air. Couple of dribbles, Sears, a deep one, cashes in.
How you like that, Kevin? That's what Mark Sears said to you. I'm just waiting, delaying, being patient. One thing that makes Mark Sears so difficult to guard is his extended range, right? It's a difference between shooting the college three-point line and shooting a step or two back when you're trying to close out defensively.
Yeah, perhaps next level range. Garcia gets whistled for the offensive foul, and Sears was all over him.
Finalist for the Wooden Award, Bob Cousy Award. Mark Sears came back to college because he was told that at the next level, because of his size, he needed to prove that he could defend. Those are two offensive fouls that he's gotten here tonight. And as much as he dominates the game offensively, that's what I want to see more from Mark Sears. Can you impose your will on opponents defensively and control the game both ways?
He's certainly got the ability and the athleticism to do that. Finds Reed in the corner this time, and Reed leaves the triple short. So McNeese on the run out now. This is Sincere Parker getting his first minutes off the bench. He was a high scorer last year for that very good St. Louis team. Although he's not quite 100%, he's playing through some injuries with his first basket tonight. It's a guy that Will Wade wants to see get going in the early goings of this season. Oh, Holloway trying to follow suit with a deep triple himself. Alabama just 1 of 7 now from distance. That three is down and out. And here come the Tide. Mohamed Diabate with the board on the floor for the first time for the Crimson Tide. Aiden Holloway, first-year Tide, finds Sears. Drives the baseline. Reed, yes.
Nice pass. Mark Sears with the drive, then the draw, and the dish. He is controlling and taking over this game on both sides of the floor right now to get his tie within 1 point.
McNeese, the Southland champs from Lake Charles, Louisiana. They get the 1 point lead early in a very unique battle, especially as it pertains to the coaches. 2 on the timer. I don't know if they realize it. There's a shot clock violation and another good defensive sequence.
Mark Sears, so strong and explosive. Look at him get to the baseline. There goes the drive, the draw, and the dish, and the finish by Darion Reed. He returned that favor to not only Will Wade, but Arkansas State, and they gave him a tough test. And at the same time, Will Wade actually said that he thought Alabama's team could be as good as the 1996 national championship team the Kentucky Wildcats and Rick Pitino had.
Basically had 5 starters in your whole bench moving on to the NBA that year. So this is a high-powered roster that Alabama has. They reloaded absolutely after the Final Four run. McNeese is got the 1 point lead here.
What you're seeing from Alabama is what they discussed in their practice last night is their rim decisions. That time Latrell Reitzel just didn't make the proper rim decision, which is what caused the turnover.
Been harping on the turnovers. That's now 5 down for Alabama. This is Parker. It was a high arcer, misses everything.
Well, Sincere Parker, you mentioned the success that he had at St. Louis, averaged close to 16 points per game, but just played in 16 games and making 6 starts. But shot 42.6% from the three-point line. He's a guy that you mentioned, Will Wade said needs to get going. He would love for him to get going here tonight.
He wants him to get healthier, too. It's not quite a 100%, but he is a scoring weapon. Mohamed Diabate offline that time. Thought he got whacked across the face on the shot attempt. Cooper extra pass into the corner. That's a nice find. That three goes down and out for DJ Richards, their most effective three-point shooter a season ago. Nelson lines it up. That's pure.
He's the difference maker. There's so much conversation about him playing at his natural position, whether that's the power forward or point forward. But I think Alabama at times is so much better when he's at the 5, because all 5 guys can hurt you from behind the three-point line.
And if he improves that three-point shot this season, maybe if he could shoot around 35% or so, that would be significant for this club. He's the veteran on this roster, draws another foul, and so that's the 6th on McNeese.
Well, you mentioned Sincere Parker being healthy. Grant Nelson is actually still trying to get healthy. Remember, he really didn't play in any of the exhibition games, still coming back, getting his wind together. He had a brace on, I believe, his right shooting hand. Now he's taking that off, so he's still getting more comfortable with the team and starting to become himself.
So he's got 9 of his team's 16. He's hit the 3, he had the slam right out of the gate, and then he's 4 of 4 from the line. So on a relaxing Monday night in Tuscaloosa here inside Coleman Coliseum, Alabama has the 2-point lead past the midway mark in the first. Good cut, nice find, and Jaron Stevenson's the beneficiary of the nice dish from Holloway.
Excellent example of Stevenson moving without the basketball. Alabama continues to do a nice job of looking at the defense of the Cowboys and then trying to slip screens. Now on an 8-0 run, the Crimson Tide.
Breed in the paint. That's a difficult shot. Breed got his hands on it. Holloway scoops it. Holloway looking for numbers. Right sole gets cut off. Holloway wants it. Down and out. Nelson follows, and he's into double figures.
As simple as it seems, that was the perfect shot by Aiden Holloway. Sometimes he's still figuring out, should I dribble, should I drive, and he holds it a little bit. If you're open, take the shot. That's part of Alabama's offense.
Yeah, you'll find a seat on the bench if you pass an open shot up like that. Holloway, again, sophomore, aims to take a step forward, the former 5-star recruit. And again, it's game 3 here in the Alabama jersey. Last year, he was a key contributor to Auburn's success a season ago. So he transfers to the in-state rival. Ooh. Nelson kept the pivot foot. Look at Amori, just a menace on the glass. And he draws another foul. So Alabama's into the bonus.
See, this is what I mean when I say moving without the basketball. That time, anytime you see the defender leave their eyes, you've got to use it. And in that time, a nice job of Grant Nelson attacking the glass at 6'11". Think about the lineup for Alabama right now. Jaron Stevenson, 6'11". Yeah. Now you've also got Grant Nelson at 6'11", and Clifford Amore at 6'11".
How about one more? That's 6'11".
Yeah.
That size, that length, it's quite a weapon and difficult to have to deal with. Amori nearly was able to pounce on it. This is Allen Breed. Breed blocked. There was Stevenson running the floor, and he turns that one away.
It's the NBA front line. All 3 of those guys able to use their length, and I think Alabama could be elite defensively. That's really what Coach Nate Oates worked on for the first half of all of their practice yesterday, trying to get them to begin to enjoy and thrive on the defensive end.
Copeland got by Nelson momentarily. Nelson with his 3rd board. Well, that was an element of last year's team that Oates bemoaned quite frequently. Defensively, they were lousy at times. Again, still made the run to the Final Four. This year's team, a whole bunch of coachable guys that want to raise the bar and perhaps win a championship. Here's one freshman we haven't mentioned just yet. That's LeBaron Philon, highly touted recruit out of Mobile.
Yeah, Mr. Basketball, Barker High School, ranked the number 5 point guard in the nation. I love his alpha mindset.
Yeah, he has impressed just a few games in here. He started the first 2 with his first basket tonight. Alabama's lead stretches to 6. 7:15 to go in the first. Nelson tees it up. That's good.
He's the one. He can do so much. He's probably one of the more underrated players in all of college basketball, not just the SEC. If he gets healthy, look out.
Coleman Coliseum is woken up here. They're on a 15-2 run. Alabama is. Garcia, an assertive drive, and he's going to the free throw line when we return. Grant Nelson in a takeover mode in this first half.
Well, we remember his dunk in the NCAA tournament against UConn, but this time it's nothing but nylon.
Because, again, Nelson, 14 points, a few rebounds. He's 2 of 4 from deep. A year ago, shot 27% from beyond the arc. As everybody knows, in this offense, you've got to take them, you've got to make them.
Sure.
A step forward in that department really elevates his game in this team.
Yeah, I mean, you think about what he's done, obviously, versus McNeese tonight. At 6'11", you know, there's not really going to be anyone in college basketball. I talked about Ryan Kalkbrenner earlier because he's kind of the last of the Mohicans with Donovan Clingan gone, Zach Edey gone, you know. But you think about who is it in college basketball that he can't guard? So he gives you the ability to defend, but offensively, who are you going to place on him? He can take you underneath the basket, score on the interior. He moves well. I think he's really a big man with the shooting guard's mindset and basketball IQ.
He's got a few rebounds here. Remember, he led Alabama in that department, plus blocks per game during that Final Four season last year. This is his final year. He's got one more go around here. His second season in Tuscaloosa after he started at North Dakota State. Just has continued to elevate and develop his game. As you said, it to someone who could be looked at as a next level player. So 6:30 to go in this first half for McNeese, and that's an illegal screen. Ball back to Alabama.
Yeah, they just continue to turn it up on the defensive end, and then offensively, the recipe that Coach Nate Oates loved, 8 of the points at the rim, 12 points from threes, and then 5 points from the free throw line. And once again, no mid-range.
That's the recipe. That is the recipe that has led this program to so much success. Another 25-win season a year ago. Oh, look at Nelson. Wide open stuff. You know, the activity level after the first couple of minutes where things were a little disorganized, it's been good for Alabama offensively. Nelson with a 16-point first half. Charles can't connect. Here's Philon. Right-hand dribble. Philon takes it right at DJ Richards. And he's going to the free throw line for a 1-and-1.
Yeah, it's consistent and it's constant. That push that we talked about for Alabama. If you want an opportunity to beat Alabama, there has to be a sprint back defensively. There has to be communication, making sure that you stop the ball, and then you have to sprint out to the shooters as well. That's what the Cowboys are dealing with tonight.
Alabama now close to 50% shooting from the floor. Again, they were pretty cold for just a couple of minutes right out of the gate, but now have opened up a double-digit advantage.
LeBaron Philon, as quick as he moves, I think, along with Aiden Holloway, is going to be the backup point guard. And that's the question about Alabama. Let's say you're in an NCAA tournament game. Mark Sears gets 3 fouls, and you still got 25 minutes to play in the game. Who's going to step up and run this basketball team? I think Philon, Chris Youngblood, who's not back healthy yet, he could be one of those guys.
There's a spin, and that time Murray's shot bounces out. Brandon Murray is headed to the free throw line. Philon, he's got a courage to him, you know, a little edge to him as a first-year player. He has impressed the staff, and you bring up a good point. Chris Youngblood, one of the coveted players that Alabama signed out of the portal, prolific scorer from South Florida. His timetable to return probably mid-December. As there he is, he gets healthy after a September ankle surgery. So our Week 12 football slate gets started, as it does every week, with Marty and McGee at 9 Eastern. SEC Nation follows at 10. The Crew is live from Athens, Georgia. Needs a bounce back.
No doubt. Well, both of those shows can guarantee you two things.
What's
a couple
that?
of laughs and plenty of information. Great shows. Looks like McNeese State went to a 1-3-1, and now they're back to more of a matchup zone right now. Just really trying to dissuade Alabama from going into the paint.
Yeah, Nelson there gets caught trying to hook the arm of his defenders. So the offensive foul sends McNeese back this way.
Good call. Veteran crew, terrific crew tonight. Doug Shows, Orlandis Poole, Rob Roy.
Murray trying to back down Sears. This is Christian Shoemate. Couple of head fakes. Goes up. Got it to go. Shoemate in the paint.
Wow, has his game really improved. You think about what Shahade Wells brought to the Cowboys last year. He was so ball dominant, was electric scorer, player of the year. Christian Shoemate, more of a role player. This year he's stepping up as one of the true leaders of this basketball team, offensively and defensively.
Sears got by his man, kicked it back out to Phylon. Phylon hangs in the air and finishes.
Just has a first step. He's explosive. Boogie Flan over at Arkansas, Tahad Pettiford at Auburn. What a show that he put on at Houston. Whew. There's some guys that can get where they want to go on the floor at any time.
There are some high upside freshmen, again, like there always are in the SEC. Yeah, how about Auburn into the top 5? So you got the in-state rivals both in the this week's edition of the AP Top 25 poll. McNeese back within 7 after the bucket. Sears goes up with the left. He's at the free throw line when we return. So Alabama by 7 in Tuscaloosa tonight. The university campus.
We could go on for hours about just how much they do for all of us, and I think it's much appreciated, not only here in this Coliseum today, but all across the United States of America.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We thank them, and we thank you, Ayo, our producer.
Ayo! He looked good, didn't he? Young man.
Clean look.
He's aged like fine wine.
That is a clean look.
Ooh. 17. That's about how old you are, right, Fitz?
That's what I feel sometimes.
Hey, that's a good thing, brother. I wish I could look as young as you, man.
Yeah,
that's a compliment for sure.
No, I'll take it. Hey, if that's the one thing you get busted about, I'll take it. It could be worse. Be a lot worse. Richards, in stride. Holloway got knocked in the face, and nose might be bleeding.
Yeah, it looks like he took a shot to the nose, yeah.
It might have been Richards. One of his arms flailed before he hit the shot. Yeah, Holloway. Oh, yeah. Whoa. So Clark Holter, the athletic trainer, is going to take him back to the locker room momentarily. I want to say it was Richards whose hand got him just in some chaotic sequence before he hit the jump shot.
After review, plays incidental contact, the Alabama ball.
That's Doug Shows using the push to talk there. Just incidental contact. That's good for McNeese. The bad news is bloody nose for Holloway.
It happens. You know, he's tough, and Clark will get him back out there and get him ready to go.
Yeah, so it was right there when Richard just broke free. And again, the officials ruling that that was incidental contact. Alabama by 7 late in the first half. Reed, quick trigger. Can't hit from deep. And another rebound down to Charles.
Love the defense. Alabama's going to continue to see this zone defense. Of course, Scott Drew and Baylor are able to get that win over Arkansas because of their zone defense as well.
Richards offline. This is Reed. Quickly pushes ahead to Stevenson, and this is in Sears' range.
Bingo. Now, why did they get that offensive possession? Because they got a stop defensively that allowed them to get out into transition, and then it did not allow the Cowboys to set up into that zone defense.
Boy, yeah, you just highlighted that. A couple of times earlier, we saw it. If you forget about Sears or don't recover quickly enough, you will pay. Brandon Murray, the senior from Maryland, scores again. So McNeese is keeping it a single-digit game here. And there's a turnover. Stevenson, though, the beneficiary of the bouncing ball, and he just earned himself a trip to the free throw line. So a fortuitous bounce.
Definitely a fortuitous bounce. And again, for Alabama, this is, and they're ranked number 2 in the nation, but this is where I think UConn is separated themselves. Now, UConn's ranked 3rd, but Alabama hasn't quite gotten to that point to where they just love defense. They live to play it every single day. I think UConn is actually ahead of them watching their couple of games earlier this season. Where Alabama's so good is their depth, their talent, their offensive threats all over the game. And I think it was after the game last year in the Final Four that Danny Hurley said they were a very worthy opponent and they were the hardest team for them to break all year long.
Well, it was close there for a little while. Remember, UConn, just like it did the prior season, stampeded the competition in their way to their first title. Did so again last year, but it was Alabama gave them, as you just mentioned there, a good test before they finally pulled away. To your point, though, what's the common denominator between Alabama's SEC championship teams? Right, the Brandon Miller year 2 seasons ago, and then in 21, it was a rugged defense. Those teams were built upon a pretty stingy defense. Turnover, Alabama running with 2 to go in the first.
But we talk about their length, Kevin, right? How good can Jaron Stevenson be?
Can he take that necessary step forward, the sophomore from Chapel Hill? The recipe is there. We heard Nate Oates mention it a lot today. He's talked about it at length in the preseason. The talent is there. It is obvious. And can everything be moving in the right direction from a competitive spirit standpoint? That's always a difference maker.
Excellent job in defensive transition that time by the Cowboys.
Reitzel wants 3. And Nelson secures another rebound. So he has 4 to go along with his 16. Reitzel refires and nails it.
Aiden Holloway back out there. He's just, he's all smiles again. He's okay. We talk about the push and the pace and the personnel. What we probably need to talk about more is the offensive glass. That's something else that's part of the recipe for the Crimson Tide, Fitzgerald. And obviously the first time it goes up, McNeese State, they're just undermanned. They're outmatched. They don't have a 6'11" Grant Nelson. And off of the offensive rebound, you hear it all the time. It's obviously the best time to knock down that 3-point shot. And Latrell Reitzel makes them pay.
On the glass, they're +4. They've got a handful of offensive rebounds, and so they have opened it back up to a double-digit advantage with 1:13 to go in this first.
113, very important for the Cowboys here. I think they've done an outstanding job of really answering every run of the Crimson Tide, but now is a huge opportunity for separation if you're Alabama. For McNeese State, you've got at least a couple of more possessions. You need to be judicious, make sure you don't turn the basketball over. And then on the defensive end, they've got to box out and limit the Crimson Tide to one shot.
You like that there on the sweater, the Cowboys, right? Bayou Bandits.
Bayou
from Lake
Bandits.
Charles. They need one or two here before the break. Allen Breed goes up strong. You know, Breed was a reliable player on those Providence teams that went to a couple of NCAA tournaments and had Cooley's last couple of years. Sears, he's got to call the timeout. Murray is saying, wasn't there a 5-second? Sears got the timeout just beforehand. And so McNeese applying some pressure with 44 seconds to go in the first. It's the second timeout Alabama has used here in this first half. 9-point game after the latest Breed bucket.
Yeah, that's part of the recipe that we just talked about. So the Cowboys got a score, and now they want to try to get another stop. So the question is, how can they do that? They've done a nice job of switching defenses. You've seen man-to-man where they've switched 1 through 5. You've seen man-to-man where they have not switched, and then you've seen the zone defense. The question is, what will Coach Will Wade come out with here for the last 44 seconds against the Crimson Tide?
Again, this would be a critical sequence here for Wade's Cowboys.
Will Wade last year, when talking about taking this McNeese State job, he said, McNeese State needed me at the time, and I really needed them. It was just the perfect fit. And I think that's one of the reasons why, even though he had potential opportunities, he stayed there. And you see the change in the trajectory of that record from 11-23 the year before to 30-4.
Yeah, it's incredible. They shattered the school record for wins. Prior mark was 22 in a season. Holloway, a deep triple. McNeese ball with 38.8 to go. So a pivotal possession for the Cowboys. They're trying to take a bit of momentum into the locker room. That 19-win improvement, significant. So, you know, this is a short list, by the way, of teams that had that big of a win improvement from one season to the next.
Sure.
There you go. Murray State, Ohio State, A&M a couple of years ago. That was on the heels of the COVID season.
Yep.
And this McNeese program last year. Turnover. That was Diabate. Read that pass. Diabate pushing in transition.
Nice decision. Get the last shot, up 9 points, try to extend it to potentially 11 or 12.
Sears has only taken 2 shots. He's made them both. A couple of triples. 5 to play. Sears on the attack. Sears goes up with the left. Got it to go. And so Alabama flips it there. They cause the turnover. Get a basket here. They got an 11-point cushion at the half.
He's relentless in attacking the basket. It's like chopping wood, chopping down a tree. He just continues to be relentless at going to the basket, as was Grant Nelson, 16 points in the first half, and Breed for the Cowboys had 10.
Great half for Nelson. He was very effective and busy inside and out of the paint. Alabama by 11. It's halftime in Tuscaloosa. Arkansas State last Friday, just 13 assists overall, and you know that was a game that was pretty close deep into that second half before Alabama ultimately pulled ahead. So there has been a bit better ball movement, something that you mentioned quite often about this Alabama team. What do you say? A lot of ball movement, ball doesn't stick.
Yeah.
So we start the second half. The Bayou Bandits, they've got it. They're now 2 of 10 from deep. And then a foul after the missed shot. So that's the first here on McNeese to start the second half. And if that's on Garcia, that's his 4th. So Garcia, double-figure scorer from a season ago. He looked good in his few minutes in that first half. Has to sit for a long time. That's a tough break for McNeese. Stevenson underneath. Too much size, too much height. Jaron Stevenson with his second bucket.
Those plays aren't coincidental. Nate Oates continued to work with his guys on slipping the screen, and that's a nice job of Jaron Stevenson.
Shoemates They did that a whole bunch last year, yeah.
Hey, he's a dunk show. They call him Shoe Stevenson.
McNeese takes it away. And so they are back on the attack. Breed had 10 first-half points, gets a little separation. Nelson knocked it out, so it's a new 20 on this end for the Cowboys.
Kevin, this is what we mean. You see, Grant Nelson has the basketball, and instead of setting the screen, Jaron Stevenson slips the screen because he knows that they're slipping 1 through 5. And then there he goes, Christian Shoemate. They call him Shoe Slams instead because he dunks the basketball so often.
He's got the full repertoire of dunks. Tonight we get the two-hand stuff here. Another foul on Alabama. And so McNeese inbounds in front of its bench. Shoemate, interesting one. I mean, he really is the veteran of the group. He's got the ball right now. The reigning defensive player of the year. His 4th year in Lake Charles, one of the holdovers from the prior coaching staff. Shoemate got his hands on it. They got Cliff Amore right there. It stays with the Cowboys.
Well,
so some good effort.
Yeah. Well, the offensive glass, they've actually done a pretty good job as they changed the call and give the basketball now to the Crimson Tide. They actually did a fairly decent job on the offensive glass.
You know, that feels like, you just saw the shot of Cliff Amore there. He was the one who was battling with Shoemate. That feels like an offensive rebound McNeese gets in Southland play. You know, you might not be dealing with a player of Amore's pedigree. Brilliant rebounder, shot blocker. Because Shoemate read that one nicely. Nelson gathered that time, bailed out by a whistle. And there's the second foul on Christian Shoemate.
You know, before the season, Kevin, you travel around and you see so many schools. You talk to different people, whether it's NBA scouts, journalists, other analysts. The one thing you continue to hear about Alabama is that they are loaded. And I think it's important that our viewers see that these are 6'11 guys. Grant Nelson, 6'11. Amore, 6'11. Stevenson moving so fluid like this.
Corner 3 is down. That's Reitzel.
Pretty basketball. Reitzel's one of the little guys. He's 6'3".
He'd love to be 6'11", I suppose. Well, there was that baseline drive once again that leads to the corner 3. Breed draws the foul. So Breed, you know, he is no stranger to this competition level after so many years in the Big East.
Mark Sears is one of the best in the SEC at really tight roping the baseline. Remember when Steve Nash began to do that when he was with the Dallas Mavericks all the time? Usually McNeese State is actually really good at playing the passing lanes in that baseline, but Mark Sears just being able to dissect the defense here early in the second half.
So Latrell Reitzel playing the role of Michael Finley, the three-point shooter in the corner there, is that right? It's a good era.
Great era, right?
Allen Breed, final year of college hoops. He's from outside of Atlanta, spent his first 3 years at Providence. He's on a couple of NCAA tournament teams. And he is McNeese's leading scorer. He's got 12 on 5 of 9 shooting.
Will Wade said he was their best player on the trip to El Salvador. He only practiced it about a week due to his meniscus before the first game because he tweaked it. It's good to see him back out there healthy.
Reitzel, another from the same spot. Latrell Reitzel now 3 of 4 from deep. Breed high off the glass. Amore was there to impact the shot. Now Sears and the Tide are on the move. Sears, quick crossover. Sears misses. Amore hammers it down. Timeout Will Wade. After the Alabama run, they've got their largest lead of the evening.
To see his mother in 8 years.
Wow.
At the age of 14, he came over 4 years in high school, 4 years at Rutgers, and the first thing that he did was go back and have a chance to see his mother. What a beautiful story. We asked him at the shoot-around, we said, what was the first thing you did? He said, the food.
Oh, yeah.
It was such good food when I was over there. He actually had a chance to give thousands of dollars to the Salvation Army there and try to help some of the young kids. He said he went back and he was a celebrity back home, Kevin.
He has invested a lot of time, energy, resources in exactly that, taking some of the well-deserved compensation, NIL compensation, if you will, and investing that back into his home community. You know, we lost an icon, remember, earlier this year, Dikembe Mutombo, you know, someone who embodied that.
Yep.
Right, and here you are with somebody like Cliff Amore who follows suit. 8 years, that's incredible. Thank you to Cliff and Steve Gonzalez, the great SID here, helping us grab some of those photos. That is just a brilliant scene there, that embrace, that reconnection.
Yeah.
With not just any old family member. This is Mom here.
Mama Gladys, man. I mean, and he's such an incredible kid, right?
Sure.
Just so nice.
Amori, the 4 years at Rutgers, 1 season left, decides to hit the portal. That's an offensive foul, so ball's going back to McNeese. Amori this time the culprit.
But even his response was nice. You know, kind of, you don't see him, you don't see him pouting.
Could have been more
You don't see
aggressive.
him upset, questioning, pouting. He's okay.
Not terribly confrontational there. He was one of the highly coveted players out of the transfer portal. I mean, that is a high-level acquisition for Alabama in the offseason. Nice floater that time from McNeese. Reitzel has hit a couple of triples here right out of the gate to start the second. Sears, yeah! Mark Sears, another one from deep.
You've got to score so many points. I mean, Sincere Parker with that last bucket for McNeese State, and Will Wade, you know, glad to have him back and getting more healthy, but you've got to score 80-plus points to be in the game with Alabama.
That's a lot. You've got to keep up with them because here they come again. Sears with his eyes up. Sears cut off that time by Murray, gets by him. Turnover, and Charles takes it away. So that was a good defensive sequence from Murray that time. Shoemate dragged the pivot foot, and we take a timeout after Sears has laid his triple.
Mark Sears, preseason SEC Player of the Year. He's trying to make a play. He wants more conversation about National Player of the Year.
In-state powers in the top 5 of the latest AP poll.
It's unbelievable, right? The last time you talked about Alabama and Auburn being in top 5 in basketball, feels like it's been forever. But, you know, you talk about Kelvin Sampson. One of the reasons why I think Auburn celebrated like that, number one, because they were still hurting from that loss from Yale. So that's a huge win. But number two, because Kelvin Sampson and the job that he's done at Houston, I think it's 5 straight Sweet 16s. I mean, he's just the element of success year after year. That's a huge win.
The freshman you mentioned before, Pettiford, he was cleared for takeoff, hit a whole bunch of critical shots in that game. Reitzel another 3 on this end of the floor, and so Alabama extends its lead. There are the numbers for Reitzel. Very efficient from deep. He's 4 out of 6.
Yeah, close to 45% last season from 3, and he continues to impress this season as well, being healthy.
He and Sears make up arguably the most productive three-point shooting duo in the league. That pass might have been tipped. Nate Oates is saying, hold on, check with your counterpart, Alandis Poole, with the point down the line there saying, nope, that is McNeese basketball. So Nate's got a whole lot of words here. Doug Shows is starting to motion. Easy, big fella. 21-point advantage for the Tide. Parker back on the floor, guarded by the very wide, big-bodied Aiden Sherrill, and that's Parker with the triple.
Love that set that time by Coach Will Wade. Continue to try to go at the bigs of Alabama, putting them in staggered and ball screens.
So nice of our colleagues here, Cole and Roman, to allow us to borrow the airtime here tonight. Remember, next week, Read and React is back. Cole Kubelik, Roman Harper. They take a look at the biggest plays, performances, highlights from the weekend around the SEC on the gridiron. I think there could be a whole number of Jalen Milroe highlights. Ooh. It's a whole bunch of them. Four touchdown performance. Right sole, offline that time. Parker looking to move. Numbers here for McNeese. Sherrill runs the floor and gets back. There's the layup, offline, and the follow. Brian Salabange with his first basket of the night.
Yeah, Brian Salabange with another incredible story that maybe we'll have a chance to talk about later, but all that created by Sincere Parker's drive to the basket.
Yep. McNeese battling down 16. They need some stops. That's the 15th foul. They make it the fourth, pardon me, on the Cowboys. The latest was on Breed.
Huge turning point right now for both teams. If you're Alabama, you're competing for an SEC and NCAA title. You want to continue to have that relentless mindset and really put the Cowboys away. And for McNeese State, you want to just try to get this basketball game within 10 points or single digits.
Sherrill fouled. So that's now the 15th foul on McNeese. I want to underscore a point you just brought up there. Being relentless in a game like this, showing the competitive spirit and fire, if you will. If you're Alabama, there absolutely is an expectation that you're the more talented team on the floor in a game like tonight.
Sure.
But in games like these, nice read there by Breed. Well, if you're a head coach, if you're Nate Oates, you don't want to see yourself played down to competition. That's maybe not even the right term, but how do you draw out the best from your team early in a season when you want to make statements, when you want to build confidence and courage and momentum?
One step at a time. And that's what Coach Nate Oates is trying to do. One step at a time, one practice at a time, one possession at a time, and overall one game at a time. You just cannot allow yourself to get comfortable.
Holloway from deep. That one rattles down and out. And so outside of the first few minutes when Alabama just looked a little shaky and disorganized, they have led for the majority of this game. And obviously, since we started the second half, by double digits. You know, McNeese led for about 8-9 minutes in that first half. Ultimately lost the lead. There's Parker again.
Well, he actually scored double figures 11 times and made it, or actually netted 30 or more points a couple of times in an A-10 basketball game.
Well, here he goes. Parker, he blew the dunk, but there's a foul on the way up. And so Sincere Parker is going to the free throw line.
Alabama fans don't like it, but I think it's the correct call, and Sincere Parker does a nice job of attacking the basket.
Yeah, no hesitation that time after the missed three. So Parker's got 7 of the last 9 McNeese points. And the latest foul, by the way, was the first on the freshman LeBaron Philon. Yeah, Parker, the senior from Rockford, Illinois, he can fill it up. Although the key for him now is just availability. Can he stay healthy? Only played 16 games last year at St. Louis, off-season ankle surgery, so still working his way back. But he's someone Will Wade expects to be a double-figure scorer, you would think, this season.
There's no doubt that they'll be back to compete for the Southland regular season and tournament title once again this year. They're going to do it as long as Coach Will Wade is at McNeese State. Yeah,
they were picked to win the league. Oh, look at where this one's from. Another deep triple from Sears. This one's going the other way. It's a foul on Alabama. First on Diabate.
And remember that critical point, right? About a minute and a half ago, Kevin, we said for McNeese State, they want to try to get it down to 10 or single digits. They now have it down to 12 for Alabama. You want to stretch this lead out and put the Cowboys away.
Got a timeout coming up basically at the next whistle now. 9-0 McNeese run. Parker, the blow by Parker, missed it. Good defense by Alabama at the rim, but
I like them again this year in the Southland Conference.
McNeese State, the university in Lake Charles. It's on the far western side of the state, close to the Texas border.
Yeah.
5th most populated city in the state. Charming little community, of course. A couple hours from Baton Rouge, where Will Wade used to work. Nelson scoops up the deflected pass. On the run out, Diabate goes soaring. It's a wild layup, and he missed it. Numbers now for McNeese. Bama, though, gets back. Parker misfires. Nelson, another rebound. Grant Nelson flung it out. And so McNeese State gets a new 30 seconds right here.
A lot of basketball left to be played in this game. Coach Will Wade pretty comfortable with where his team is at.
Richard flares. Richards starting to go to work. Diabate comes out. Richards into the paint. Off balance, one-legged fadeaway, and Holloway has it.
Outstanding defense that time by Alabama, but the Cowboys continue to get back in transition.
Oh, great pocket pass to Nelson. Holloway that time just spun it right there to the big man. And so Nelson is going back to the free throw line where he's 4 of 4.
Aiden Holloway comes off the screen. Once again, that's another slip that we see by Grant Nelson. So for young players at home, when you see a team switching, whether you're in first grade or whether you're in the NBA, make sure that you learn to read the defense and slip the screen like you see Grant Nelson doing tonight.
He had 16 at the break. He's looking for his first basket here in the second half. It's now 17 for Nelson. So remember, Thursday, SEC Inside is going to grant you the all-access pass. The SEC Women's Soccer Tournament semis and championship game. They've got the never-before-seen footage. It's sound from the players and the coaches. It's a real behind-the-scenes look. So 10 Eastern right here on the network. Nelson, the dynamic big from Devils Lake, North Dakota. That's 2.5 hours away from Fargo. Fargo's pretty out there. 2.5 hours away from it. It's pretty isolated. 3 tremendous years at North Dakota State. Enters the portal last year, and then Alabama brings him aboard. Again, he's very versatile. He's got a wide range of skill sets. And what sort of a jump will he take in his second year in this Oates and Company system? That 3 goes down. That's DJ Richards. So it's a 10-point game after the missed layup. Rebound cleared by the Cowboys. Here they come. This is Omar Cooper onto the floor. Getting his first minutes. Didn't play too much in the first half. Richards around the screen. Richards cut off by Diabate. Garcia back on the floor. Fishy's playing with those 4 fouls. Valuable starter from a year ago. Reitzel knocks it away. 4 on the timer. So a sturdy defensive sequence by Alabama here. 4 seconds for Will Wade and his crew to get something up here. Jaron Stevenson comes on for Holloway.
Yeah, Nate Oates trying to go with a little bit more size right now. Watch the offensive glass. If Alabama's able to get a defensive stop, look for Christian Shoemate or possibly Garcia to get this one.
Someone's got to get open. They fling it to Shoemate. 3 seconds. Shoemate, 1 dribble, fires. Off the back of the rim. Rebound down to Nelson. Nelson lost it. Last touch by McNeese.
Solid, but give credit to the Cowboys for fighting. They could have put their heads down and really given up in this basketball game. Grant Nelson is really controlling this game from the inside out. He's rebounding, he's scoring, he's defending. He's doing just about everything for the Crimson Tide.
He's got 7 rebounds. Feels like he's got 5 more than that. So 17 and 7 for Nelson. Knocked away from behind. So Garcia with the instincts that time to flick it away. Garcia, the triple. That's offline. Tapped by Shoemate. Last touch by Alabama. That was a great heads-up play by Joe Charles as he was dancing on the baseline to basically bounce that off a Crimson Tide player. And so Will Wade is encouraged. So can they slice it back to single digits? Murray over to the inbounder. Richards. Follow slam and Shoemate. Alabama not box it out that time. And so for the first time since the 2.5-minute mark in the first, it's a single-digit ball game.
Unbelievable job of showing character and fight. Let's see if Alabama can answer here. They've been playing a little fast. They've got to take their time and get to the basket, try to get to the rim. But just because you don't have the size, there's no box out that time by Latrell Reitzel. And Christian Shoemate goes upstairs to the top floor and finishes at point-blank range.
How about this? A 14-1 McNeese run. Fish, you said it. This is basically right after you mentioned this is kind of a turning point right here. It was around that 12-minute mark. And so it has, the ship has turned in a different direction.
This is usually when Mark Sears tries to take over the basketball game, and usually he does it from the free throw line.
Late shot clock offense. Reitzel has to put his head down. The ball's free. Who's it last touched by? Alabama's going to keep it here with 0.4 of a second on the timer. Boy, so by definition, that's just enough time to catch and shoot. You don't have to tap it. It's got to be a quick catch and shoot. Basically, might have to throw it at the rim. Touched by McNeese. And that's a shot clock violation.
Excellent defense by the Cowboys, now holding Alabama to no field goal for the last 6 minutes and 15 seconds. That
is a long time inside your own place with a 21-point lead at one point. Garcia rejected by Amori. Just teed off on that one. Cliff Amori, the Big Ten shot blocking leader a season ago. Get this out of here.
Yeah, well, rim protection, right? Another reason why I feel like that Alabama can compete for that national championship. Right now, they're getting tested here at home by a feisty McNeese State team.
You know, they have remained very focused, connected, united on the floor. There really hasn't been any panic. Mark Sears is trying to get rid of some debris in front of the McNeese bench. All right, Cowboys have it. 8-point game. Deeper in the second half now. 8:10 to play. Garcia back to the three-point shooter. Charles offline that time. Sears on the move. In a hurry. Sears draws the foul. He does such a good job of putting pressure on opponents in that regard.
Well, and right now, Bama's 0 for their last 6 and have 4 turnovers. And what we just saw was what Mark Sears did in the Arkansas State game. He just attacked the basket. He continued to get to the free throw line and really controlled the game from the free throw line. I assume that that's what he's going to try to do over this last 8 minutes as well.
Yeah, so what they do as a team took 44 free throws. Sears made 11 of them in that game. There's the numbers, bottom right. Today, now 3 of 3. And so Alabama is going to take the points any way it could take them during this recent cold spell that's now going on close to 7 minutes. There's Mom, Lamika.
She's ready.
Listen,
there you go, Mama.
Yep. Always there, ready to go.
She's a star.
Perform. Yep. I mean, she's got a role now. It's a starring role. The secret is out. Parker to the basket. Went high off the glass. Shoemate couldn't corral it. And then a foul on the Cowboys. It takes us to a timeout. These Bayou Bandits, they're making some noise. Shoemate here got his team back within single digits.
Yeah, this is a lesson to learn. You don't box out. Shoemate
pushed McNeese within 8. Okay, it's a 10-point game. A game in which Alabama had led by as many as 21, and that was just, what, maybe 8 minutes ago in terms of game action. And then they hit a low. McNeese went on that 14-1 run. Alabama controls it here, 7:40 to go. In a game against the reigning Southland champs. So this is not just your average early season lousy mid-major team that comes in. They've got talent. They've got a winning in their DNA. After the turnover, the Cowboys have it.
So the 14th turnover, that's part of the problem that the Crimson Tide have had. Second of all, the offensive glass. McNeese State has 26 field goals in the second half. Bama only has 15 because of the turnovers and because of not getting on the glass.
Amori switches on to Shoemate. Shoemate, and he left his feet, didn't know what to do with it. So now it's Alabama that can capitalize off the giveaway. Sears turns the corner out to Stevenson, puts it up. That's down and out. And Shoemate with another rebound. That's his fourth. Yeah, so McNeese, they have been given opportunities to get it back to single digits. Murray to Shoemate. Shoemate blocked, but he's fouled. And so Christian Shoemate goes back to the free throw line.
Something that Coach Will Wade loves to do. You know, you see a lot of screens out there on the open floor, but Will Wade likes to get on the corners. That's right, at those elbows, big to big screens. But really, it's all guards on the court for the Cowboys right now. Joe Charles, you could say, is more of a big man, but he loves to find mismatches. He did that at LSU, and he's doing it as well at McNeese State.
Led the Tigers the 2019 SEC title. They went to the Sweet 16 that year. 20-win seasons. Now on the other side of the state, back in SEC territory for the first time as the McNeese head man. And Alabama, can they snap this ice-cold stretch?
Yeah, haven't scored over the last 8 minutes, 14 seconds, and counting. This is where Mark Sears has to be aggressive. But the offense has been stagnant because of McNeese State switching defenses. The ball's not moving. It's sticking right now.
Like right here. This is Reitzel searching for Sears. Sears knifes in with the left, misfires. Allen Breed coming the other way. Sears gets up and nearly swiped that one away. Breed had the recognition. Here's a deep three. Parker buries it. Sincere Parker in the second half has got 12 of his 14 points.
And now they hop back into their 1-2-2 pressure to slow Alabama down.
Fish, it is a two-possession game here. 5:45 to go. Alabama is searching for the answer. Nelson turns right back to Reitzel. Corner three. There's the answer.
There you go. We saw the ball popping. It wasn't sticking that time. 2, 3 guys touch the basketball wide open. It's got to move. Got to reverse sides of the floor.
Reitzel's got 15, 12 of them here in the second half. Parker hoists another. Got it to go. Sincere Parker has ignited today, and he's got 17.
Will Wade told us at the shoot-around today that was the guy that he expected and was looking more from. 30-plus points 3 times, actually in 3 straight games last year.
And that was for a very good St. Louis team that went to the NIT. Parker taking it upon himself to take over. McNeese, they covered the passing lanes that time. Sears' triple is off the mark. Couple of players go tumbling to the floor. Murray up ahead. Parker another. That's long. Shoemate goes flying over Amori. And that should likely be on Shoemate. If it is, that's the 9th team foul. And Will Wade disagrees.
He disagrees, but Rob Rourke's correct on the call. Look at Alabama continuing to move this basketball. That's what the Crimson Tide have to focus on, keeping that ball going back and forth. And then here, Sincere Parker just lines it up. Latrell Reitzel, hands down, man down. You know the rules. And he puts his hand up a little too late.
Reitzel again with most of his 15 points in this second half. Cliff Amore at the free throw line. These free throws a little more consequential than you would think perhaps this late in the game.
Well, what's happened here tonight is the recipe when you play Alabama. You can't allow them to have a free-flowing offense. Whether it's three-quarter court, 1-3-1 zone, matchup zone, man-to-man, Coach Will Wade's kept them off guard offensively.
Parker rises again and puts it in. Sincere Parker with 19 on 7 of 14 shooting. He's been efficient. It's a career high for the senior from Rockford. Two-possession game once again. Philon finds Nelson, and that's a foul on Breed. So now it's 2 free throws for Nelson. And Alabama in the double bonus the rest of the way.
And Alabama obviously not shooting to the level that they wanted to. Not bad, 11 of 32 from the three-point line, 70% from the free throw line. But from the field, only 36.8% tonight.
Yeah, that's in the second half. And so Nelson has not missed. Pardon me, he's now 6 of 7 at the free throw line tonight. Talk about an efficient day for Nelson. He did a lot of that work in the first half. Seven-point game. 4:05 to go in Tuscaloosa. Parker's got it. He's red hot. Parker's got the bigger Stevenson. Step back three. That one rattles out. A couple of players go tumbling. Brandon Murray went flying, and they whistle Philon for the foul. McNeese has it within 7. It's a tight one.
Their 13 points have come from 3 of 13 from the field. So again, we talked about this at the outset. They do have a plethora of weapons, and they need all of them on deck to try to finish this game here at home in Coleman Coliseum.
Well, let's just reset the stakes, okay? You see the number next to Alabama's name. Final Four run a season ago. Alabama gets the ball back here after the miss at the line. Final Four run a season ago. Projected to win the SEC once again after they reloaded, brought back Mark Sears. Third game of the year, okay? Meanwhile, the opponent you face in this third game is a NCAA tournament team from a year ago when McNeese won a school record 30 games. They bring back several of those starters. So this was very much expected to be a high-quality team out of the Southland, and they are within 7 against the second-ranked Tide. Nelson slips once again.
How many times have we seen that tonight? You know, it's really quite simple. If you've got all 5 guys switching screens, you've got to continue to slip and make those guys pay. Grant Nelson has been really the only one that's displayed that on a consistent basis tonight for Alabama.
And he's got the 20 points now. Parker shovels it back to Breed. 6 on the timer. Breed knifes in. Breed the fall away. That one rattles through. Timeout, Will Wade. So it's a 7-point game again. The Cowboys answer with 2:49 to go.
Yeah, Breed out of Powder Springs, Georgia, the senior with a big-time shot. But give credit to Grant Nelson. Again, he was continuing to slip on the screen, and then this is what we're talking about. Breed does a nice job of getting Jaren Stevenson to lean towards the basket and uses that pivot to create enough separation, with him only being 6'3" against the 6'11" Jaren Stevenson.
You know, this is the beauty, if you want to use that term, the interesting fascinating point about college basketball this year. You know, you look at those three guys. Sincere Parker was on a quality St. Louis team a year ago. Allen Breed spent 3 years playing Big East basketball.
Sure.
This his first year with McNeese. So you've got guys at this level that have played games like this, competition level like this, and they are within 7, 2:49 to go in the game.
Yeah, and I think that's extremely important for people watching this basketball game to realize. These, you just mentioned it, Syracuse, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Corpus Christi, Louisiana, St. Louis. These are high major players. This is how the game of basketball has changed.
Well, if you're Alabama, you got to figure out a way to close this out. They have not relinquished that at one point 21-point cushion. But McNeese got it back to as little as 6 a few minutes ago. 3-possession lead for the Tide. Stevenson. Back out to Sears. Fakes the 3. Sears. Stevenson lets it go. Nelson with the offensive board. And he lets out a little bit of a roar. That's his 8th rebound. And he's going back to the line.
Well, we talked about the fact that with Alabama, first you were concerned about the push, then the personnel, then the plethora of weapons. But you have to add the offensive glass to that arsenal of weapons that they have, because you have to complete that defensive possession. And they're doing a nice job of anticipating the miss and going to get the offensive rebound.
Yeah, they've got 10 offensive rebounds. McNeese is surprisingly out-rebounding Alabama on the offensive glass.
They're just quicker to the basketball.
Yeah. Nelson 8 of 10 at the free throw line. Alabama as a team 17 out of 24. .210 to go. Allen Breed, quick crossover, lost it. Stevenson. This is Parker, who has gone off in the second half. Off balance, one-legged fadeaway. Rebound to Stevenson.
Excellent defensive trip. They're going to be poised and patient here. 9-point lead with plenty of time left. There's no rush for Alabama.
Philon, though, takes it right in for a deuce.
And no mercy for LeBaron Philon. He's an alpha male through and through.
Breed behind the back, hoists it up. That triple rattles in. Allen Breed with another. Back to an 8-point game, 1:15 to go.
If you're the Cowboys here, you're starting to run out of time. You're going to have to put some additional pressure to try to speed Alabama up a little bit. On the other hand, you see Mark Sears taking his time, realizing that the clock is their ally.
Murray almost lost Sears for a moment. 6 on the timer. The screen comes. Stevenson rolls. Sears has to find somebody with 1 second. Blocked by Shoemate. So they'll stop the run out. And they say shot clock violation. McNeese will inbound it in the backcourt after the rejection.
Yeah, fortunately for Alabama, the run out was stopped.
Yeah.
That actually paid dividends to the Crimson Tide. Now they'll be able to set their defense. So looking at an 8-point deficit right now. McNeese State 14 points off of turnovers. They need to score quick.
The ball is in Breed's hands, as it has been. He lost it. Breed on the floor, but he was out of balance when he recovered. Alabama gets it back. And a untimely mistake there for the Cowboys.
Tenacity displayed by Mark Sears, not able to get his shot off on the other end offensively, but look at the heat that he's applying defensively. That's what he's got to continue to do and set the standard for the Crimson Tide.
Yeah, poked that one away. The sleight of hand by the 5th-year senior, the All-American from Muscle Shoals, Alabama. And now they'll run out a good bit of clock here. It's an 8-point game, 30 seconds to go. McNeese is not going to foul. And so Alabama, which had a 21-point lead at one point in this second half, watched it will down to 6. Up by 8 here. Reitzel with the big shots in this second half that help propel Alabama to what's going to be perhaps a single-digit victory in this game against McNeese.
Well, and if you're wondering why the Cowboys didn't foul, for them, from a net ranking standpoint, to come on the road and play Alabama this close, they won. And the Crimson Tide won the game overall, though.